Welcome to my channel. Before we dive into today's story, please take a second to like and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate your support. Now let's get started. It began on a warm evening in Paris after the final round of trade discussions had ended. The city was wrapped in a peaceful hush, but inside me, nothing felt calm. I remember that night vividly, the way he stood at the door of my hotel room, his tailored suit crisp, his dark eyes holding unspoken thoughts. "Auntie Miriam, you look like you need a drink," he said, his voice smooth as silk. I smiled, masking the storm within. Imran, my stepson, the son of the man who had taken me from Lagos to this distant, unfamiliar world. But there was something about him, something different, something that pulled me in ways I couldn't explain. At first, I convinced myself it was nothing, a fleeting thought I could ignore. But the feelings only grew. I caught myself thinking about his smile, the way his lips curled when he saw me across the room, the way his gaze lingered, not like a son should look at a stepmother, but like a man looks at a woman. I knew it was dangerous, but I couldn't stop it. That night, after a few drinks, the air between us shifted, thick with tension. His eyes locked onto mine, and in that moment, I knew we were about to cross a line that couldn't be undone. "Let's take a walk," he murmured, his voice low and daring. Outside, the night was crisp, the city lights flickering like distant stars. But I felt like I was on fire, burning from within. Every nerve in my body was awake, alive, trembling with something I refused to name. As we strolled through the hushed streets, his fingers brushed mine. I didn't pull away. I should have. I should have remembered who I was, what was at stake. But instead, I let the moment carry me. "Miriam," he said again, his voice softer this time. "Why do? You always call me Imran, like I'm just your stepson. Don't you see me as something more?" His question lingered in the air, like smoke from a dying flame. I had no answer. How could I admit that the boy who once looked up to me was now a man who made my heart race in ways it shouldn't? The distance between us vanished. His lips grazed my ear, sending a shiver down my spine. "I've wanted this for so long," he whispered, and the dam inside me broke. I told myself to pull away, to stop this before it was too late. But I didn't. When his lips finally met mine, it was hesitant at first, a test. He was waiting for me to reject him, but I didn't. I leaned into the kiss, my hands gripping his shirt as though I was holding on to the edge of a cliff. By the time we pulled apart, breathless, something irreversible had taken place. "What happens now?" he asked, his voice husky with emotions neither of us could name. I wanted to run. I wanted to pretend this had never happened. But instead, I reached for him again, knowing there was no turning back. The morning light was unforgiving, exposing the reality I had tried to ignore. My eyes fluttered open to the weight of Imran's arm draped over my waist, his body warm against mine. Panic gripped me. What have I done? My husband, Samir Swak, was miles away, occupied with critical negotiations back in Abuja, oblivious to the betrayal unraveling in his own home. I sat up slowly, careful not to wake Imran, but as I moved, his grip tightened, his touch possessive. "Miriam," he murmured, his voice thick with sleep. "What happens now?" I exhaled shakily, my hands trembling as I reached for my clothes. "This was a mistake," I whispered. My voice barely audible, he sat up, watching me with eyes that held something unsettling, something deeper than just desire. "A mistake," he echoed, his tone unreadable. I couldn't meet his gaze. "I can't do this," I said, forcing myself to move, forcing myself to escape. As I reached for the door, his voice stopped me. "Don't you love me?" I froze. Love? My chest tightened as emotions I wasn't ready to confront crashed over me. I had no answer, not one I was willing to say out loud. "I don't know," I admitted finally, my voice cracking. "But I can't keep doing this." And then I walked away. The hallway felt endless, each step dragging me deeper into regret. By the time I reached my own hotel room, I collapsed onto the bed, burying my face in my hands. Tears finally fell. This wasn't just about me anymore. It was about the choices I had made, the lies I had told, and the home I had built on a foundation that now felt like sand slipping between my fingers. Later that evening, I called Samir. He answered on the first ring, his voice warm, reassuring. But this time, it only deepened my guilt. "Miriam," he said, sensing the hesitation in my silence. "What's wrong?" I swallowed hard. "I need to tell you something," I said, my voice shaking. "Something I regret deeply." Silence. And then softly, "I'm listening." My hands trembled, but I knew there was no escaping this. I had to face the truth. "I made a mistake," I admitted, my voice breaking. The weight of my confession was suffocating, but in that moment, I realized something. My love for Samir was worth more than a fleeting temptation. It wasn't easy telling the truth. Truth never is. But it was the first step in reclaiming the life I had nearly destroyed. As I ended the call with Samir, a suffocating silence settled around me. The weight of my confession hung in the air, its consequences looming like a storm on the horizon. I expected him to react immediately, to demand answers, to yell, to curse me for what I had done. But instead, there was only silence. "Samir," I whispered, gripping the phone tighter. He exhaled long and slow. "I need time, Miriam." His voice was unreadable, but I could hear the strain behind it. "I don't know what to say right now." The call ended before I could respond. I sat there frozen, staring at my reflection in the dimly lit hotel mirror. My face was pale, eyes hollowed from sleepless nights, lips still swollen from the stolen kiss that had led me here. I had done the right thing by confessing, but why did it feel like I had just set fire to everything I had built? A knock on the door made my heart jump. I knew who it was before I even opened it. Imran stood there, his dark eyes searching mine, his presence filling the doorway like an inescapable force. He had changed out of last night's clothes, but the intensity in his gaze remained. "You told him, didn't you?" His voice was quiet, but there was something unreadable in his tone. I nodded, stepping aside to let him in. I had to. He shut the door behind him, running a hand through his hair. "And what now?" I shook my head. "I don't know, Imran." He didn't say much. He just said he needed time. He exhaled sharply, as if embracing himself. "Do you regret it?" The question struck me like a knife. Did I regret it? I wanted to say yes, to tell him that I wished I had never let this happen, that I wished I had never looked at him the way I did, never let myself get lost in the fire of his touch. But deep down, the truth was more complicated than that. "I regret hurting Samir," I admitted, choosing my words carefully. "I regret betraying him." But I hesitated, my voice barely above a whisper. "I don't regret feeling alive." Imran stepped closer, his expression unreadable. "So what does that mean?" I closed my eyes, trying to gather my thoughts. "It means that we can't do this anymore, Imran. Whatever this was, it has to end. I have to try to fix my marriage." His jaw clenched, his fists tightening at his sides. "And what if he doesn't forgive you?" The question lingered in the air, its implications heavier than I was ready for. His expression darkened. "And what about me, Miriam? You think I can just forget what happened between us?" His words sent a chill through me. There was something dangerous in the way he looked at me, something possessive. I stepped back, creating space between us. "You have to," I said firmly. "We both have to." For a moment, neither of us spoke. Then, without another word, Imran turned and walked out, slamming the door behind him. For the next 2 days, I barely left my hotel room. I avoided Imran, ignored his calls, and spent my time waiting for Samir to call, to tell me what he had decided. When my phone finally rang, my heart nearly stopped. "Miriam," his voice was steady, but there was an unfamiliar edge to it. "Samir, please," I started, but he cut me off. "I've thought about what you told me," he said slowly. "And I need to see you in person." I swallowed hard. "When?" "I'm flying to Paris tomorrow." I closed my eyes, bracing myself for the inevitable. "Okay, we'll talk then." The call ended. I exhaled shakily, feeling the weight of everything pressing down on me. Tomorrow, I would face my husband, the man I had betrayed, and I had no idea what his verdict would be. That night, unable to sleep, I left my room to take a walk. The hotel corridors were quiet, the air thick with an unsettling stillness. As I stepped into the lobby, a voice stopped me in my tracks. Couldn't sleep. I turned sharply. Imran sat in one of the leather chairs by the bar, a drink in his hand. His gaze was unreadable, but there was something in his eyes that sent a shiver down my spine. There was something different about him now, something darker. "You should go to bed," I said firmly. "We both should." But as I turned to leave, he grabbed my wrist, not hard, but firm enough to make my breath hitch. "Tell me one thing, Miriam," he murmured, his voice dangerously soft. "If he doesn't forgive you, will you come back to me?" My chest tightened. "Imran, please, just answer me." I swallowed hard, forcing myself to meet his gaze. "No." His grip loosened, his expression unreadable. Then, without another word, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the shadows of the hotel. A chill ran down my spine. I had put an end to this, but something told me Imran wasn't ready to let go, and that terrified me more than anything else. The next morning, I waited in the hotel lobby, my nerves frayed. When Samir walked in, his presence was like a tidal wave. He was calm, too calm, and that scared me more than if he had come in shouting. He took a seat across from me. "Tell me everything," he said quietly. And so I did. I didn't hold back. I told him everything. The feelings I had ignored for too long, the night I had given in, and the regret that had consumed me afterward. When I finished, he stared at me for a long time, his face unreadable. Finally he spoke. "I loved you, Miriam. I trusted you." His voice was eerily steady, but then he added, "But I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." Tears burned my eyes. "Samir, please." He shook his head. "I need time. I need space." My heart shattered. "Are you leaving me?" He exhaled, running a hand through his hair. "I don't know yet." And just like that, he stood and walked away, leaving me sitting there, drowning in the consequences of my choices. As I watched him disappear, I realized that no matter how much I wished I could undo the past, some betrayals left scars too deep to heal, and some mistakes cost more than we could ever imagine. For the next few days, I felt like a ghost, drifting through the world. Samir had left without saying much else, his absence a haunting reminder of the damage I had done. He didn't call. He didn't text. And Imran? He was everywhere. At first, I thought I was imagining it, catching glimpses of him in the hotel lobby, feeling his gaze on me when I walked through the halls. But then the messages started. "You don't get to just erase me, Miriam. Did you really think you could use me and throw me away?" Each text sent a shiver down my spine. I ignored them, hoping he would get the message, but he didn't. One evening, as I returned to my hotel room, I found a single red rose lying in front of my door. My heart pounded as I scanned the hallway. It was empty, but I knew Imran wasn't letting go. I picked up the rose, my fingers trembling. A note was tucked beneath it, "Meet me at the rooftop bar one last time." A part of me wanted to throw it away, to pretend it wasn't happening, but another part knew that if I didn't face him now, this would never end. So I went. The rooftop bar was quiet, the city lights twinkling in the. Imran stood near the railing, a glass of whiskey in his hand. He didn't turn as I approached. "You came," he said, his voice smooth but edged with something colder. I crossed my arms. "This has to stop, Imran." He finally looked at me, his dark eyes burning with something unsettling. "Does it? You think you can just walk away from this like it never happened?" I swallowed hard. It was a mistake. His jaw clenched. A mistake. He stepped closer, his gaze locked onto mine. "I don't believe that. I saw the way you looked at me. I felt the way you responded to me." I took a step back. I was lost, but I've made my choice. I have to fix my life. Imran let out a bitter laugh. "Fix your life with him?" He scoffed. "You think Samir will ever look at you the same way again? You think he'll forgive you?" I didn't answer because deep down I wasn't sure. He took another step toward me. "You felt something with me, Miriam. You can't deny it. I met his gaze, forcing myself to be strong. Maybe I did, but feelings aren't always right. And this is wrong. Imran's face darkened. So that's it? You expect me to just let you go? I took a deep breath. Yes. His grip tightened around his glass. For a moment, I thought he might throw it, but then he simply exhaled sharply and turned away. Fine. I watched him, waiting for something more, some last desperate plea, but instead, he just stood there, staring at the skyline. I took that as my cue to leave. As I walked away, I heard him mutter, "You'll regret that." A shiver ran through me, but I didn't look back. The next morning, I checked out of the hotel and booked the earliest flight back home. I couldn't stay here any longer? Not with the memories. Not with the danger of Imran lurking in the shadows. When I landed, I found Samir waiting for me outside the airport. My heart clenched at the sight of him. "You came," I whispered. He studied me carefully. "We need to talk." I nodded. "I know." The drive home was quiet, heavy with unspoken words. When we finally arrived, he parked the car, but didn't move to get out. Instead, he turned to me. "I don't know if I can ever forgive you, Miriam," he admitted. "But I still love you." Tears welled to my eyes. "I love you too, Samir, and I'll do whatever it takes to fix this." He looked at me for a long time, then sighed. "We'll see." It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't a promise. But it was a start. Underscore 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 underscore. Epilogue. The past never stays buried. Months passed. Samir and I worked through the wreckage of our marriage, piece by piece. It wasn't easy, but we were trying. And Imran? He disappeared. No texts, no calls. It was as if he had vanished from my life completely. Until one evening, I was walking home from work when I felt it, that familiar sensation of being watched. I turned quickly, scanning the crowded street, and then I saw him, standing across the road, half hidden in the shadows. Imran. His eyes met mine, and a slow, knowing smile spread across his lips. And in that moment, I realized this wasn't over. Underscore 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 underscore. If this story gripped you, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to the Fidelity Tales for more captivating stories. Don't forget to hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think.